Hi! So we're at the garden now. It's about 1:30 p.m. and I'm just taking advantage of this gorgeous sunshine to give you a little tour of my allotment garden on January 12th, 2021. So the garden is about 550 square meters, and there's a little shed at the back there, you can see, and on the left here there's my what I call the veggie patch, which is has this perimeter fencing sort of. It's supposed to keep the slugs and snails out, and it kind of does, sort of, but the problem is that every time I put compost on, I probably transfer a bunch of slugs, tiny slugs in there. So it's always an ongoing issue with this area. This tree is a big plum tree. They're damson plums. And I have this kind of dead tree here that has a couple birdhouses, sort of smack in the middle here. Let's see. So on this side over here, I don't know if you can see very well, this is a big pear tree that is extremely productive, almost too productive. It needs to be trimmed. I'm going to take care of that soon. And I've got on this side a cherry tree, a little tiny cherry tree, and it really isn't doing that great. I mean, I gave it a good trim last summer because it was quite sick, and it's produced a lot of buds, so I hope that it's going to recover. And here I have a few raised beds that I've just quickly covered with some greenhouse sheeting. My intention is to make frames, but the sort of hardware stores are closed right now, so it's just gonna have to wait a bit longer. In the next bed I have my purple sprouting broccoli, which are, as you can see, absolutely enormous, and they are getting ready to produce. I can see all the little buds that are starting here. I don't know if you can see at the base of the leaves. Anyway, there's some buds here that are just starting. You can see they're a little bit purple. And soon we're going to be able to eat tons and tons of delicious broccoli shoots. And this produces into, the late spring, I guess. So I'm really looking forward to it. Underneath here, I actually have a few things. I have a little bit of cilantro that's just kind of sitting there waiting for better days. And I have a few lettuces that are tiny, just overwintering. And also I sowed a lot of stuff like spinach and purslane and lamb's lettuce. And all that will at some point hopefully germinate. And here I have my garlic and shallots, and it's probably growing, but I actually put a little bit of compost back on it and some leaves, so I don't think anything is peeking out yet. Along this edge I have my water faucet. I have a lot of raspberries here. Can't really see them because I cut them way back and mulched them a little bit, and I actually planted more over there. And they're those raspberries that are white. I forget the name of the variety. The first year I was here, they were really delicious. And I don't know, this last summer they were a little bit, I don't know, barely edible actually. I don't know why. I guess the climate wasn't quite the right thing for them. What else do I have here? I have a tiny little apple tree that produces really nice big apples and is very productive. And to me that's my favorite kind of tree because it, you know, it doesn't require so much maintenance and you don't have to climb on ladders and stuff. It's just easier. I actually here bought a tree that I just planted a few weeks ago, a month or two ago. It's one of those flat peaches trees. I don't know what they're called, donut peaches, I guess. And I have no idea how it's gonna do, but so far it looks pretty happy. And I just piled on a bunch of stuff just to protect it a little bit. And I'll just have to chop all this up and make a real mulch. What else do I have? If I go back towards the entrance to the garden, I have a quince right here. That's not that big. I mean, obviously I have to prune all the trees. I haven't actually done that yet, except for the apple trees. So quince here, it's not too big. It needs to be pruned pretty badly. Back to the vegetable patch. I have, let's see, what's left? Not that much. Well, obviously here I have some strawberries. I actually planted quite a few more in the late autumn. There's more. You can't really see them that well. They're a little bit small. This kale never really did very well. I'm gonna finish it and remove it. That's a kale that I finished recently, Russian kale. It's actually sprouting. I don't know if you can see. Sprouting here on the side, a new little thing. This is a broccoli plant that is a little confused. I guess the timing was completely wrong on this one. See the head? I'm just leaving it in. Oh well. Here I have more strawberries. I tried to grow a lot of different things under this plum tree, and nothing really grows very happily. I mean, it's okay, but mostly I think I just have to be content with lettuce and strawberries here. This here is a sour cherry tree, which really needs to be pruned, I mean. But apparently you can't really do that in the winter, so I'm just gonna have to wait. It's really bad because I completely missed. I was so busy last summer. Look at these two huge extra trunks here at the front that I really need to get rid of. This cherry is not very happy, so really I'm looking forward to being able to prune it. Still have a lot of Brussels sprouts in the veggie patch. These purple ones kind of look cool, but they didn't do very well for me, I have to say. I mean, look, they've been completely devoured by probably slugs, I think. That's the damage you see. I mean, obviously all this stuff is still edible. Just have to peel back all these damaged leaves. I don't know why the slugs really went for the purple ones and not particularly the other ones. Not as much, I should say. Oh well. Every time you try something, you learn something, right? This is my artichoke here that's doing okay. Been mulching it. Hopefully it does okay through the winter. Still another kale plant behind it. More Brussels sprouts that we've been feasting on, but as you can see, they're still delicious sprouts here. They look nice, don't they? Okay, and then more purple ones. This one is basically almost completely harvested. I just have a few at the top here. I'm gonna harvest today. I'm starting to remove these charred plants because they're kind of growing these humongous roots, and see the root? And the roots are apparently not very good to eat, and you know, I'm just gonna maybe grab some leaves, but I mean, I really grow them mostly because they're pretty to look at, to be honest. You know, you get these really nice sort of rainbow colors in the garden, and they're indestructible pretty much. The last of the kale plant Gonna harvest some more today. This Russian kale also is really looking a little sad now. Just a little pom-pom at the top and this huge stem here. Here I have some more shallots and some onion that haven't really peaked yet. I've covered the rest of the bed because I'm not using it, just to protect the soil from heavy rains and everything. And this is another type of chard that is much more tasty than the colorful ones, in my opinion. And it's called Lucullus chard. Here, what do we got? Here, oh, it's such a mess at this time of year, this garden. Here I have more Brussels sprouts. See, I gotta harvest this soon. See this one? Still a lot. And then here I have my hugelkultur bed that I've been adding to because you know, it sinks as things decompose in there and it turns into compost. You keep, you know, adding to it all the garden waste and cover it with, you know, leaves and grass clippings and everything. And I have a really happy artichoke plant here that I have to, well, actually I don't need to mulch it anymore. I think it'll be fine. I grew all kinds of things here last summer, tomatoes, mostly tomatoes I think actually. This year I think I'm gonna do mostly pumpkins on here. We'll see how that goes. I have another hugelkultur bed here that is a little bit not very conveniently placed because, you know, you have the tree right next to it. But I'm working on it. I'm gonna add a lot to it and probably plant either more artichokes or yeah, pumpkins probably. And here I have some asparagus that are still not, you know, they still haven't really completely died back. These are brand new. They've been planted at the beginning of the summer, I think, or late spring. And a friend of mine grew them from seed and gave me a few. And I have another friend who's growing some more, so I'll probably have some more to add to this. And I'll probably put them over there after I clear everything. I've started to remove all the weeds here, but I still have a lot of work to do. This is blackcurrant. I have a lot of blackcurrants on my plot, and I used to hate them, but now that I've discovered that plain yogurt and blackcurrant syrup is actually amazing, I will be happy to harvest them next year and make a lot of that syrup. It's kind of a thick syrup. It's between sort of like a jelly, like a jam jelly, and a syrup. It's a little bit gooey. It's really good. Okay, here I have rhubarb that you can't see because it died back. A lot of rhubarb here. Let's see. So I'm on the other side of my plot here, the other fence. Here I have Jerusalem artichokes that I still have to harvest. Here I have a gooseberry plant. And here I have quite a few. I have three. Oh, let me get out of the sun. Here I have three apple trees. Let's see, no, that's a pear tree. And then I have two apple trees. And then another apple tree here that produces really, really nice bright red apples, little apples. It's really delicious. See my apple trees, an old pear tree at the edge here, and then a little pear tree that produces really nice pears. I'll see if I can find the variety. This one. So this is all my mess that I have to clear out. And this here is a willow. This is my herb mound. All kinds of herbs. You know, sage. I forget. There's like a million things. Oregano. Yeah, thyme. Some lavender, etc. This is my pond, tiny pond, which is completely overgrown with this sort of thing, reed or whatever it is called. I have to really clear this out. Yeah, it's definitely been attracting a lot of wildlife. I have a lot of frogs and toads and everything in the summer, which is lovely. This is the view from here to the front of the plot. I put all my wood trimmings in this kind of fence, wood fence. I just make piles of wood. It was really tall when I first got the allotment, but the wood was very rotted down, and so I made wood chips from it. I have a wood chipper, and so I'm rebuilding this wall. On the other side I have another wall that's completely, you know, also rotted out. I'm not going to touch it right now in case there's any creature hibernating here, and I will do this later in the spring. This is some old garden furniture. Here I have what used to be a willow hut. It was really big when I got the allotment. You can see where it's been cut and it's starting to regrow. We cut it because we're not allowed to have, first of all, wild willow like this. The curly willow is fine, but this is not for some reason. And also we're not allowed to have very tall things. So I cut it down, and it also creates a lot of shade, which I don't love. And we don't really sit underneath this. Like right now it's a big mess, but even when it's not a mess, we don't really use it. So yeah, I feel like I spent a lot of time trimming this thing. So recently, like last week, I cleared out behind it, and I've put down some cardboard to keep the weeds at bay, and I'm gonna put some kind of I think wood chipping path here, and the idea is that the kids will be able to access this bed better, which is the raspberry bed. There's a lot of raspberries here that I've cut way down. A lot of other things like blackcurrant, gooseberries at the back, and here at the way back I have some more strawberries. See, I'm having trouble because this willow needs to be trimmed. These are blackcurrant bushes, and this is my neighbor's plot. Here you can see the fence. So I'm really happy that I cleared this out, and hopefully this will be a nice little area for the kids to pick berries. So let's go back. This is the raspberry bed, and here's the back of my shed, my water tank, which I haven't emptied out, which I really should do. Here I have a tiny little bed that I've been growing tomatoes in, but I mean it worked fine, but I think I'm just gonna stick with like sweet peas and, you know, clematis. I have one right here that did quite well that I need to cut back. What do I have here? Hazelnut tree, blackberries, blackberries, red currants here all along here, and this is my junk pile at the end. Sorry about that, it's quite an eyesore. Here's the back of my shed mess. Here too, lawnmower, wood chipper. This is here on this fence is a grapevine, which does produce very sweet grape, but as soon as it's ready to pick, the birds just go at it, and I usually don't really manage to harvest that much. And it also has seeds, and I don't love seeds in grapes. This is another apple tree. I really need to prune it. I need to get rid of all these rotting apples and really give it a trim soon. Very productive tree. This is another plum tree, little plum tree that kind of doesn't do very much. I mean, it does okay, but this is a little pile of wood for all the critters. Another one over there that's actually, I think, looks like probably inhabited, because I see that some something's been digging in there. There's little holes inside, so I just let it be. Some more currant bushes here. This mess was also a willow hut that I've cut way back to the ground, and I need to cut it again in the spring before it really starts growing again. I have to take care of that. The people who owned the garden before me were very fond of willows, and they planted these like living willow fences at the back here. Oh, this, by the way, is an old pear tree. Yeah, so all this willow is really a pain to keep on top of, because it needs to be completely trimmed, as you can see here. This is a fence that I made last spring, early spring, from willow, from the trimmings. And what you do is you cut way back all these shoots here, like I did on this side, and with that you can weave and do a lot of things, and it's kind of fun, but you know, it takes a long time to do this. Like, you basically have to first process all this willow in different, according to its size. So I've started doing that today. Tiny one over here I'm not gonna do much with. This one I might try to make some kind of a garden structure with it, like to hold my peonies in place or something, like weave some kind of structure. And this is what I'm working on right now. I'm actually gonna use this to make another willow fence here. And so these are the longest ones and the thickest ones, and I'm removing all the side shoots. So I have, you know, all the side shoots over here, and then once they're done, put them aside. And what I'm gonna do is actually go over there and show you where I'm gonna do this. So here I cleared out all of this all of this mess, and I'm gonna use this bed, which wasn't doing anything really. I'm gonna use this as a pumpkin bed. I'm gonna use this as a kind of a raised hugelbed, hugelkultur bed. I'm gonna basically dig about a foot, remove the soil, put rotten wood, which I have plenty of here, and put it at the bottom, and then sort of make lasagna layers of garden waste from the coarsest to the sort of finest, and then I'll cover it up with the soil that I had put aside, and it'll have a kind of a stone border. And at the back here I want to have that one of those willow fences, and I want it to be a bit higher than the other one, because I feel like I need a little bit of privacy here with the neighbors. This is more of a rustic, like pile of wood fence that I need to fix at some point. This is the corner of my veggie patch here. So anyway, yeah, this is my big project for the next few weeks, and yeah, it's exciting. I think it's gonna look cool, and can't wait to see my pumpkins having a lot of space here. And I'm always looking for ways to use garden waste, because my garden produced so much branches, you know, weeds, what have you, trimmings, prunings. So I always look for ideas to process all this, and it takes a lot of time, much more than the actual gardening. So I think we've sort of been through the whole thing. This is my compost area here that I moved. It used to be at the very back of the plot, and it was a pain to you know, cart the compost over to the veggie patch. So I have this here right now, and it's much better. So there you have it, my garden. And this is where we have our hammock in the summer, which is quite nice. Kids really love that.